A lot of people do their puzzles wrong. Let's say you have a puzzles rating of above 2600 on either chess.com or Lichess. Must be pretty good at tactics then, right? No. There's certainly a correlation, but your ability to solve puzzles rarely helps you spot tactics in games. The first thing to understand is that generally puzzle training can be divided in 3 categories. The first one of these, tactical motive. This is the part where you solve a lot of easy puzzles very quickly. Let's say you reach a position like this one here. You would probably instantly see, if you put the rook over here, it's checkmate. Now let's say you're quite good at puzzles, so you see this in about 0.5 seconds. Well, guess what? Magnus Carlsen probably solved this in 0.001 seconds. What I'm trying to say in this type of training, it's not about how difficult the puzzle is. It's about solving a lot of them and being able to solve them quickly. The second one is what I like to call temperature training. Where a lot of players will go wrong is they'll be looking for tactics in positions where they don't exist. This is where we actually improve our intuition. More about this later. So why would a 2600 puzzle rating not be good at puzzles? Because they fit into this third category, calculation training, which is a super useful thing to train. Calculation is what in fact most of chess is about. So we see a position like this where a lot of candidate moves are possible, and you might have a good feel that tactics should be possible. Like, oh, maybe there's some motive going on here, but it's covered. Maybe we attack the queen. Maybe there are other sacrifices possible. Do we have checks? This check looks pretty good, but the rook is guarded. We can immediately establish a lot of possibilities, and then you just need to sit there and figure it out. And that requires a lot of calculation. But we're not actually improving our tactical vision with these kinds of puzzles. What we're training here is being able to calculate for different variations. And like I said, there isn't a wrong or a right here. You need to train all of these categories to become a better chess player. But the problem is a lot of people do their puzzles, they solve a bunch of easy puzzles at first, and then their rating goes up by quite a lot. And from that point onward, they just stop doing easy puzzles. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do some training exercises from all 3 of these categories. Because to be honest, I kind of need to work on this myself as well. Let's start with the first type of training. Here's the puzzle. Once again, the main takeaways are accuracy and speed. Pause the video and try and solve it for yourself. Okay, lots of stuff going on. First of all, there's a pin going on over here. And there's contact here as well. And we can also see that black is up a minor piece. So how do you solve this puzzle? Well, the main motive over here that's going on is that this is a undefended piece. I say that between quotation marks because there's this knight over here. But the defender can be removed. The main move here is rook takes f5. Now, there's a huge discovery going on over here. If you move the king, you've simply lost a knight. So that's completely pointless. So the main move here is taking back. At which point, the bishop here is heading. Alright, here's the second puzzle. Once again, pause the video and try and figure it out. Now there's a saying in chess, loose pieces drop off. And it's honestly incredibly helpful for puzzles like this. 2 motives are going on over here. First of all, this rook is undefended. Second of all, black has some back rank issues. So that might lead you to the move, rook takes d5. What's the point? Well, let's say the rook takes back. Here you can take with the queen. 2 sacrifices in a row is very nice. If you take over here, rook takes rook with check. The queen has to block. And after this exchange, white is simply up a bishop. And here's the third one. This one is maybe a little bit harder than the other ones. So pause the video and try and solve it. First of all, there's a lot of contact. What do I mean with that? Well, the bishop and knight see this pawn. There's some contact over here as well. But the main motive over here is recognizing forkable squares. Mainly the king and queen over here. Now, why did I say that this one is more difficult? Because it looks like there are 2 moves to do the same thing. Here the correct solution is knight takes f5 check. What happens? Well, if the pawn takes back, this is simply a fork. Now, maybe you came to the solution that bishop f5 looks really good. If that's the case, pause again. Try and figure out why this is bad. Alright, there is this move rook h4 attacking the queen. Now the queen doesn't actually have a lot of squares over here. So you kind of have to block. And here you have this move queen h8. White is just gonna end up losing a piece over here. So there's another fun motive. The more force in line is often better. Not always, but very often it is. Now, how can you best train this? If you want the free and easy method, honestly, chess.com's puzzle rush is pretty good. You can do either 3 minutes, 5 minutes, survival. Obviously, you can do the same thing on Lichess. I personally don't really do this. The main downside to this method, I would say, is that the puzzles feel very same-ish. Now, like I said, I don't do puzzles on chess.com that often. But whenever I do this, I feel like there's like at least 10 backrank mate problems, which is a bit too much. If you don't mind spending some money, then the woodpecker method is actually kind of phenomenal. I personally haven't done the full woodpecker method, right? I mainly got this book because I got into the habit of solving simple chess puzzles every morning with a cup of coffee. But the contents are great. The examples I showed were from this book, and it will show you a lot of different tactical motives. Okay, next up, temperature training. What is temperature training precisely? Temperature training addresses the hardest part of chess tactics: intuition. Difficult to learn, impossible to master. You can think about it like this. Every chess position you're gonna find in your games is gonna have a certain temperature. The temperature can be very cold. That means there are no tactics, there are no captures, there are no checks. However, the temperature can increase. And when the temperature reaches a boiling point, that's when you have got a really nice tactic that you can play. So to train this, I want you to set up this position in an analysis board. And then once you do, I want you to play through the following moves: knight to g3, pawn to h4, knight to e2, queen to e5, pawn to f4, queen takes d4 check. Now, once you've done all of this, I want you to remember this. A key part of calculation and tactics is visualization. So I want you to, while you're working out tactics, to not move the pieces. Except, of course, to go through this sequence back and forward. That is completely fine. And to make it even harder for you, if you're an online chess player, you might be tempted to draw arrows. Don't do that. Like I said, this will help you learn to visualize the pieces better. So this is an exercise. And there is one hidden tactic in this sequence. So the point is to try and find it. I'm gonna do the same thing. So try it for yourself first. Let's see if we both find the tactic. Or I fell horribly. Alright, so what I'm looking for is a position when there's a lot of contact between pieces. Knight g3. So let's see, does black have a move here? Bishop h3 doesn't look very promising at all. Pawn h4 looks normal. I think I see it. It's in this position. I think I see it. I'm gonna draw an arrow here for you guys. I think I see queen g7. Those are forkable squares. Is that it? And we go through the rest of the moves. So knight to e2. I don't think black has anything here. So let's say queen e5. White over here. That's contact for sure. Taking. I don't see that going anywhere. I think queen g7 is the move. Queen takes g7. King takes. Knight h5 check. Ooh, look at that. I think this has to be it. Yeah, this was a kind of a nice one. Now, this type of training is a lot more difficult to do. There are no good websites to do this with. And if you want to be given positions like this, you probably need either a friend who's very dedicated to chess, or you need a coach. However, you can do something similar, and that's by going through your games. Now, this is a game in which I know from the game review that I made a blunder. Here, there's a pretty simple tactic, g5, and you just lose this pawn. So if you want to do this type of training, it honestly takes a lot of effort, but you probably have to review your own games. Like I said, use a game review to analyze if there's a blunder, but don't use the engine to look for what position you've made a mistake in. Now, once again, if you don't mind paying for this type of thing, this book over here, How to Study Chess on Your Own workbook, has quite a lot of these exercises. I know there are 2 volumes of this, one for 1500 ELO players, one for 1800 to 2100 ELO players. I don't know if the lower rated volume has these exercises, but do keep in mind this is FIDE rating, so if you want to convert that to chess.com, probably subtract about 200 ELO. The book itself, pretty good as well. I would say it's an alright substitute for a real coach. Not perfect, but pretty good. Okay, time for me to embarrass myself. Alright, calculation training. If I were you, I would even put up a real chessboard. And like I said, don't move the pieces around. Maybe for the sake of the video, I will draw arrows. Maybe we can just look at what's going on. We have a lot of attacking pieces. Maybe we have some queen h5. Rook takes knight, we can give a check, they can block. If we move this knight somewhere, they can take the queen. Like you see some mate patterns, like if a rook can land here. There might be some knight g5 nonsense going on. If they take, we can give the check. Maybe we can... If we take with the pawn, we have some idea of maiden on h6. They can run away, though. Oh, man. If we play knight g5 and they take, if we move this knight away, then we can still be covering that square. So then take this check will be mate. This is very forcing. Knight takes knight. Let's say queen takes. Then we have a check over here. King goes g7. Queen takes g5 check. If you run away, we can simply take the rook. If the queen blocks... Oh, there's a pin. We can give this check over here because the queen is pinned. Oh my goodness. Are you seeing this? Okay, so knight g5. What if they don't take? Well, I'm threatening to go here. What about rook takes knight? Oh, then we take the pawn with check. You have knight takes knight? Wait, that's a problem. I can't do this. Knight g5, knight takes knight. There is a pin, of course, going on. Maybe we can just move this knight to like f5. Oh, queen e6 is a problem, isn't it? Oh boy. Oh no. Why doesn't that work? Maybe not knight f5, maybe knight h5. Queen e6. What about knight f6 in that position? Oh, that looks good. Queen takes queen, rook takes queen. The knight can move because of checkmate. Wait, is that it? Wait. Knight g5, knight takes knight, knight h5. There's no queen e6 because knight f6. I just realized that on knight g5, knight takes knight, knight h5, queen g6. On knight f6, knight e6. Then we have to move queen e4. We have queen e4. He takes the queen. It's mate. Rook takes rook is checkmate. I think that's it. Now, this was an exercise from the book Improve Your Chess Calculation by Grandmaster Ramesh. Very popular book. I will say though, really difficult. Like, really difficult. Being very honest, I don't say very difficult as a way of me challenging you. I'm saying very difficult as in, don't buy this book. But buy it, it's great. Buy this book because it's great, but don't buy this book because it's too difficult. The book gives you like 3 to 5 minutes in this position. I took like 20 minutes. And it's saying knight g5. There we go. It's saying here that the correct move is knight takes g5. Okay. And here I went wrong. Apparently knight f5 is the correct move. What? No. But main takeaway for most of you, calculation training, very important, very great. But if you want to improve at basic tactics, do a lot of easy puzzles. Make sure to subscribe. I try my best making good videos. Some people will disagree. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.